want to take you back to when you were born.
Oh, I can't remember that far
Well,
back.
no, 1926.
Yes.
What's your earliest memory of when you were a kid?
I remember when my younger brother was born, and we were living in Laurelville,
Okay.
and I remember we were sent to a neighbor's when the doctor came,
Okay.
and he was born at home.
Oh, so what's the name of your younger brother?
Tan.
Tan. I know Tan. Yeah. So he was born in the house,
Yes.
and you remember that.
Yes.
And so how old were you about? Were you 5 or 10 or?
5.
But that's the earliest memory.
4 and a half or 5. Yeah, I can't remember anything really well. I remember washing, and we were poor, and there were broken glass in the yard that were colored. I guess they came from bottles and things. I picked up the bottle pieces, and Mama had washed, and she kept the rinse water for me to play in, because I washed the little pieces like I was washing dishes. I was playing,
With the broken glass?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And when I finished with that, I got in the tub, and I remember cutting myself with the broken glass. That is about the only thing I remember, and I don't know where I cut myself.
Well, that's why. I mean, because you remember cutting yourself, you saw blood, and you remember
and
that.
that's it.
But then you would think you were 5 or 6.
I must have been a little bit younger. That was before Tan was born.
Did your mom? Did they help you with when you were cut or anything, or what? You remember
Yeah,
that?
I remember we were in an accident. I was a little bit older, and I got cut right. I have a big scar right here,
Okay.
and they, I don't know how old I was, and they were going to bring me to the doctor from Laurelville to New Iberia, and I ran away and hid in the barn.
You did? in the barn? So you were living on a farm?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So, you didn't want to go to the doctor? So
I didn't.
You hid in the barn? Okay.
I remember that, but I don't remember too much about it except Mama poured some iodine, and it was a big cut.
Okay.
I remember how it hurt.
Did you ever have to go to the hospital?
No.
And so you just poured iodine away, and that was it?
That was it.
Oh my God.
Uh-huh.
All right, well then, do you remember going to school?
Oh, yes.
Do you remember like first grade or second or when you were?
Yes. Now, the teachers' names I don't remember,
Okay.
but I remember going barefoot.
Barefoot?
I wasn't the only one going barefoot.
It's just because people didn't have shoes?
Probably.
So, I mean, people actually went barefoot
to school. Yeah. Laurelville is a little bitty town.
I know Leah's taking me there, I think.
Uh-huh.
So you remember that?
Yeah.
And was there segregation then? Was there white kids?
Oh, yeah. No, we didn't go with blacks.
Oh, you didn't go with, I was just saying your oxygen side of your nose. So they were in a separate school or separate classroom? Separate school.
Yes.
Completely?
Yes.
Okay. And then what do you remember like when you got to high school or anything like that?
When I started going to school in New Iberia in the 5th grade. And I remember we had a test, and it was in math, of some kind of math. I don't remember what it was. I'm the only one that passed it. And I remember how the teacher was so proud of me. See, that's how I remember that one.
Okay, that's interesting. So that's like fifth grade or something like that?
Yeah, 5th grade.
Okay.
5.
I hear laughter. Hi!
Yeah, hi.
Hey, Miss Rosie!
Come in.
I brought you a birthday gift.
Oh, nice.
Go ahead. Hi, I'm Bill.
I'm Lauren. I'm the social worker from Amity.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too. My last name is Landry as well.
Oh, cool.
I know. I'm from Landry.
So, we were talking about
I was washing those dishes.
the pieces of glass or something, and you cut your arm.
Oh, no, that was the wreck.
That was different.
Yes, I cut my feet, but not bad. I was just in the tub, playing,
Yeah.
and I remember that, and I was not 5.
Okay, and then you hid in the barn
Yeah.
because you didn't want to go to the hospital.
Yes.
Okay, and you never had it stitched up or anything.
Nothing.
You said that your parents poured iodine in it,
Yes.
and that was it.
That was it.
Oh my God.
See?
Oh my God. Let me see. Oh, you still have that cut. I mean, do your daughters know about that?
Oh yeah.
They do. Okay. I mean, that's a serious cut.
Yeah.
It's about this long.
And why? It never was stitched.
Yeah. So then grade school, and then
Yeah.
high school.
Yeah.
Where did you go to high school?
On Center Street.
Okay, that's the old New Iberia. No. Is it New Iberia?
Yes.
So you moved from Lauraville to New Iberia?
Yeah.
Come on, skinny love, just let's sing it.
Okay.
And
Pour a little salt we will never
big
eat.
one on Center
My.
I've seen that. And they converted it into
Staring at the
Yeah.
sea across the
And at that time, it would start at the grade school, but later on it became religious high school.
Some I love to wreck it all.
I went there.
Cut out all the ropes and let me fall.
It was a
My.
early 40s. You were born
Right in this moment, this all is all.
like
what was it like?
And I told you to be patient, and I told you to be fine, and I told you to be balanced, and I told you to be kind. And in the morning I'll be with you, and it will be a different kind. And I'm holding all the tickets, and you'll be owning all the fines.
And we had a slot machine, which when the guy would come to collect the money in the because kid, he'd give me some, and then I'd play it, but I'd use them all anyway.
so basically you stay out of trouble.
The only thing I'd kind of do that wasn't
Someone
right.
knows food.
My mother didn't know how far I went on the skates.
Yeah.
I went to the courthouse, where the courthouse is?
Yes.
From my
And
house.
I told you to be patient, and I told you to be fine, and I told you to be balanced, and I told you to be kind. And now all your love is wasted, and then who the hell was I? And I'm breaking at the bridges, and at the end of all your life.
If we got sick, we were tended to. But I never had my mother tell me.
Who will love you? Who will fight? Who will fall behind?
She'd come and she'd put her lips on my forehead. That's how you could tell it was hot.
They didn't have the money. They
Yeah.
just felt somebody's head.
Yes.
How about your dad?
He was the mean one.
He was mean?
Yeah. He didn't, he beat us one time. Lorena wanted to go to a club, a dance hall
Okay.
with my brother.
With Tan?
No, my older brother,
Okay.
Ivan. And,
Ivan, right.
Yeah. And they said no. And you know, Lorena said, well, that's my brother, you know? No, that was a no. My mother had to go.
So,
My sister would have a date. My mother had to go.
oh, go with her.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay, on the date.
You could go, but you got to bring Mama along.
Okay.
And that worked pretty good for my older sister. And Lorena with the new way, you know. So, anyway, one time he beat us.
Because you did something, you went away and didn't tell him or something.
Well, not yet.
Okay,
Lorena said she was going anyway.
okay,
Lorena would talk back to them.
okay.
I never did. So he beat Lorena, and he was beating her too much. And my mother was in the background hollering, beat him, beat him. So I got in the middle of him and Lorena, and I said, quit hitting her.
Really?
You're hurting her back.
I never heard this story.
You never heard that story.
And so you got in between.
Yes, and that's when he kind of looked like it woke him up. He quit.
How old were you, maybe 15 then? 16?
No, I wasn't that old.
You were like 12 or 13,
Something like that.
something like that. When did he use his hands? Just
A belt.
It was always, that was the way it
Oh,
was
yeah,
done.
we were marked.
Okay.
Lorena was marked real bad. In fact, we were so pissed. We thought we'd join the service. We tried to join the service.
Did you really? Back in the Army or Navy or something, anything?
Oh,
Just
any
to get away.
to get away.
Okay.
And I said, no, your parents will have to sign, and you know.
And you were too young to do that.
I was
anyway.
too young anyway.
So when did you meet Tony?
I don't remember the first time I met him. Ivan worked at Dish's Grocery, and Dish's grocery store was a big fancy place where the rich people bought their groceries. They had fancy stuff.
In New Iberia?
In New Iberia.
Okay.
It was across from the 5th grade school that I went to.
Okay.
And so Ivan and Tony were buddies.
Oh, I see. That's how it started.
Yeah. And then he'd bring him home. I couldn't bring anybody home.
Okay.
And
but
Lorraine-
Ivan could.
He was a man.
He was a man. Okay.
And that's how I met him. And I always has a smart remark, you know.
Who, Tony did?
Me.
Oh, you did. Okay. Oh, okay. All right.
All of a sudden I felt grown up, I guess. And so he'd say something and I'd answer him back. So one day I was reading a book and he passed and he pulled the book out of my hand and he went and sat down and then he threw it at me. So I hated him. He'd pick on me all the time.
And now, how old are you then? Are you 14, 15?
Yeah.
Somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
And were you boyfriend and girlfriend, or you didn't like
Oh,
each other?
no.
No, it was nothing like
I
that.
didn't think about boys till I was 16.
65.
16.
16.
Yeah,
okay.
there were 11 grades then. So
11 grades. Okay, 3 grades of high school, 3 years of high school, or 4?
I don't know how they
Okay,
figured it, but
okay.
it was 11 grades.
So then you're 15 or 16, and you're finished. Did you finish high school?
Oh, yes.
You finished at that high school there, and then
I had to finish. The only way I could finish is if I'd cry every summer. My daddy would say, that's it, you're not going anymore, you need to help your mother in the store. And I'd cry and I'd bring it up every now and then, and so I could finish.
oh, you had to really fight to finish.
I had to fight to get a high school education.
Because back then it was like, no, you help your
You're
mom.
gonna marry somebody, you don't need an education.
Okay, and you remember them saying stuff like
Oh,
that?
yes.
Okay. But that was normal back then. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody's kids were hearing that
Yeah.
stuff, right?
Yeah, but I
Okay.
could never bring a friend home, a girlfriend or a boyfriend.
Yeah.
It was too chaperoned. Everything, Mama had to be there.
Everything was controlled.
Mm-hmm.
So when did you actually go on your first date? Or do you remember when you actually had a boyfriend? Do you remember that?
There was a guy living across the street from us, His name was Wilton Baudouin. And he'd come to the store all the time. And we'd pick at each other, you know. I'd play cowboys and Indians with him. I'd hide and seek.
Yeah.
I was the only girl, and there was a bunch of boys. So we'd play together in the backyard, mind
Okay.
you. And I could tell he liked me, and that's when I kind of started thinking of boys.
Okay.
And then the war started, and Tony went into service.
Oh, so this is right around that time.
Mhm.
This is 1941, 42.
Yeah,
Yeah, because Pearl Harbor was 41.
Yes.
Tony went in 42,
yeah.
if I remember right. So then, go ahead.
And then he went into service. Tony did, but I didn't worry about him
Because you had no boyfriend relationship
because he was
with
too
him.
old for me. He was 5 years older than me, and you know, in those days that was a lot.
Yeah.
And
You
so
want to focus, right?
I wrote to Wilton, and then I met a guy at a street fair.
Okay.
I don't remember how I was able to go with my brother and my sister-in-law, but my mother wasn't there.
Okay.
I don't know how I got that, but I rode the Ferris wheel with him. He was real nice.
Can you see the picture? Does it look like it's focused on? Just look right there. Just look.
It was scary.
Okay. Okay, so then, I mean, now you're starting to have boy feelings.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then
And-
that one that I rode the Ferris wheel with, we rode to each other and we got engaged.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes,
You,
and
you were engaged.
we got engaged, and I picked out the ring, and then I started writing to Tony, and then things got serious, and Tony came back because his ship was bombed,
Yeah.
and
The USS San Francisco.
Mhm.
Right.
his ship was bombed, and Ulysses was in the service too. So
Oh, he was in the service.
yeah,
Okay. Did you write to both of them?
uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what people did back then. They wrote,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
wrote letters, and you got them back weeks later. You got an answer.
Yeah, I wrote to my cousin too. And you know, not too long ago, my cousin I hadn't seen in years came in home, and he wanted to see me. And he told his brother, he said, "You see, that's who I was in love with, but she's my cousin." Just from writing letters, he had fallen in love with me. But he had written on one letter, "Please write to me
Yeah.
and pretend you're my girlfriend." So I put, "I love you, I miss
So he could show it to the other guys.
Yes.
And act like he had a girlfriend.
Yeah.
He had a girl at home. So, did Tony know you were engaged to this other guy?
No, I don't think he would have cared.
He wouldn't have cared. So he comes back.
Tony comes back, and he was different. He didn't pick on me and everything, so I started liking him.
Okay.
And then I started writing to Tony because Tony went back in the service.
Yeah.
And then it got to where we got engaged, and I had to bring Ulysses his ring back to his mother. That was
Okay.
a hard thing to do.
So you didn't give it back to him. You gave it to him.
He was still in the service.
Oh, he was in the service. So you took the ring over to the
To
mother's
his
house.
mother, yes.
And that must have been hard.
It was hard.
So did you basically explain to her, I have another boyfriend now, or do you remember?
He married somebody that lived close to where I was living, and she told me after that she said, "See this ring? You remember it?" So he had given it to her.
He did. That's
Yeah.
funny.
Uh,
So then Tony gets out of the service. He serves 2 years, and he's
Yeah.
lucky to be alive, right? We all
Yes,
know that
yes.
now. And he comes back, and then do you get married pretty quick?
Well, he brought back a diamond ring
Okay.
that he had, and then we got engaged, and he took the diamond out of that ring that he had and had it set, and the setting Alita has it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And so I had that.
Okay.
And he was in Shreveport. He was going to school for mechanic.
Okay. In Shreveport.
Shreveport.
Okay.
And he didn't like it. And so he came back
Okay.
and we got married.
Okay. That was pretty quick. What year did you get married? Do you remember?
44, 45.
Okay, that he basically was in the service 42 to 44. Then he comes back, and within a year or so, you get married.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where did you live? Where did you live? Did you live in New Iberia?
Yes.
Did you?
But we went to Baton Rouge on a honeymoon.
Okay.
And he found a job in Baton Rouge, and I found a job. So but it was around Christmas time.
Okay.
So after Christmas, of course, we were there.
Okay. So the whole war, the Second World War. I mean, that consumed everybody, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you lived and died, and people you knew lived and died over there, and
Yeah. I remember what hurt me. I saw my brother marching to the courthouse with the others that were going to leave.
okay.
You know, he was drafted. He was married then. And it kind of hit me, you know, I might never see him again. But
Which brother?
Ivan,
Ivan. So he served in the war too.
yeah. But I don't think he saw any fighting.
Okay.
I think the war must have been almost over then.
But you mean it hits you emotionally when you see
Yes.
somebody march and you know that they're going, and your
Yeah.
brother may never,
Yeah.
that might be it.
There's a whole group of them, you
Yeah,
know.
and you knew a lot
Yeah,
because it's a small town,
Yeah.
basically.
yeah.
But then there was great happiness and everything when the war was over, right?
When it was over, it was
You
great.
remember that?
I sure do.
They were partying and
Well, I couldn't go to anything.
you couldn't go, but you knew there was a big deal.
Yeah, because I couldn't even go to my prom with anybody.
Yeah, because of the strict parents and rules and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, the war was, I don't remember if the war was over or not, but I remember I wanted to go with somebody and they said no. So finally, tried to explain to them what Lorena would never do. She would just get angry. And I told them what it meant to me, you know, going to school that long. I had done a lot of studying, I had good grades, I did what I was supposed to do. Why can't I go for just a little while? And I said, how about if Ivan takes me? So I went with Ivan
To your prom,
to my prom.
your senior prom, or what? Is that what it was? It was called a senior prom back
Yes,
then?
it was a senior prom.
I'd say they let you go to the prom with your brother. Is that right?
That's right.
Oh my God.
And I don't think too many people knew him. And Ivan was good looking,
Yeah.
you know.
I've seen some earlier pictures of him too.
And so that was okay.
Okay.
But,
So then you guys come back. You moved to where did you say, Baton Rouge?
yeah,
And then you both got jobs there.
yeah. And then after Christmas, the extra help was let go. So we moved to New Iberia, and Tony started selling cookies. Tom's toasted peanuts and cookies. And
Did he go door to door to sell them?
no,
How do you,
to stores.
oh, to stores. He was like
Yeah.
a wholesale distributor. Okay.
Yeah, and
so
we
he goes
bought-
to stores.
We bought a house on Corrine Street.
Okay.
It had 2 bedrooms. It was a fairly new house. And
Were you working then? Did you work? Did you have a job?
I got a job.
So you both were working, and you were able to buy a house.
Yes.
Well, that was pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Because you didn't have much money, right?
No.
Okay. And then, how long was it before Cheryl was born?
We got married, and 2 years after we were married, Cheryl was born.
Was that a planned thing, or did
No,
you want
it
to?
just
Okay.
happened. And
Just. So Cheryl just happened.
yeah.
Okay.
And 5 years later,
Alita happened.
Alita.
And that wasn't planned either?
Not,
I mean, you didn't say, well, we want to have more children?
we never said we want, but it was okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we wanted kids.
And did you want a boy too, in addition to the girls?
I wanted a boy both times.
Well, I'm sure your daughter would be happy to hear that.
I think they know.
Okay.
And that's because I thought he wanted a boy.
Did
for the
he?
first. No. He said, no, it has to be a girl.
He said that. It's just the opposite of what you would think.
He said it both times for both of them. And I said, why? Don't you want a boy? He says, I wouldn't know what to do with a girl.
With a girl or a boy?
A girl.
Okay.
And
He said
So he
you
says-
wouldn't know what to do with a girl?
yeah, I wouldn't know
Okay.
what they can do and what they can't do.
Okay.
And a boy.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah. So he was glad it was girls, so he didn't have to fool with them.
Okay.
And he said no. It didn't bother him. We didn't have a boy. And of course, I had surgery, and I had an ovary and a tube removed in between that time. And you know how old folks talk. They said, well, you have one ovary and one tube removed, and when you get pregnant, one tube and ovary is for a boy and one is for a girl, which is not true.
Okay.
So they said, you're going to have another girl. And it's true, had another girl, but that's not true. The man determines the sex.
Okay. That's right. You're right. Okay. So what was it like raising two girls back then?
Oh, yeah. I was so nervous raising two kids. And I loved them so much, I was so afraid they'd get hurt. And they'd get sick. But
Okay.
it was nice having, and I loved them so much.
Okay.
I remember Cheryl got the measles. We had to take her to the hospital. She had fever so high she had like a seizure.
Okay.
And we lived in Baton Rouge then again. We had gone from New Iberia to Baton Rouge because he was working for Standard Coffee
Okay.
then. And Tony didn't like to keep the same job. He was always quitting. He was just lucky enough he'd find another one.
Was he bored with the work, or he?
Yeah, I think it's what it
He
was.
would just get bored and want to do something.
Tony
else.
had like a chip on his shoulder,
Okay.
and he'd get mad at the bosses, and he wouldn't. Some people get mad and just stay. He wouldn't stay.
He got okay. He would just leave and get another job.
You know that song,
What song?
Jam It?
Take this job and
Take
shove
this
it.
job and shove it. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
That was his.
And that was Tony.
That was his song.
So you'd sell your house in New Iberia, and then you would buy a house. And did you buy a house in Baton Rouge then?
Yes, we did, but we didn't. We moved. We rented a house first,
Okay.
and then we bought a house. When we moved to Baton Rouge for the second time, we had no money. I sold my mother a coffee table, and that's the money we had.
That was it.
That was it. And we were pulling a little, you know what you
Trailer.
Yeah. mhm.
Okay.
With what we had left was a bed, few things. And if we'd have had trouble, we had no money. So we got to the house that Tony had rented, and we moved in there. And we were lucky. We had no money for food. So he had to go to the grocery store in Baton Rouge, and he asked for the manager. And he talked to the manager and told him his problem. And he says, I guarantee you I'm gonna pay you back. And the guy said, okay. Didn't
That's-
know us from
so
Adam.
Different world then, wasn't it?
Yes.
Different world.
Yes.
And then I'll bet you guys did pay him back too.
Oh, definitely.
So you both had to find jobs.
Yeah.
And you were week to week, day to day.
Yeah.
Even to get food.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have two girls at this point, right? You have two kids?
No, I had just Cheryl.
Okay. Well,
But I
okay.
didn't work when I had Cheryl.
Okay.
I didn't work.
And then was Alita born in Baton Rouge?
Yes,
Yeah,
but
okay.
at a different place.
In a different place.
Yeah, we had bought a house.
So you lived there for quite a while.
Yeah.
In Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
And then, so then raising them and bringing them up. When did you move back to New Iberia? What? How old were they, or do you remember roughly? Were they 10, 15?
Alita wasn't born, just Cheryl.
And you moved back to New Iberia?
We moved back to New Iberia.
Sold, and then buy another house in New Iberia?
Yeah, but I'll take that back. Cheryl wasn't born yet.
Oh, okay, okay.
I can't.
Yeah, it runs together.
Yeah. Anyway, Alita was born in Baton Rouge.
Yeah. And then you come back to New Iberia.
Yeah.
And you settle there, basically.
Yeah, that's.
Because they went to school in New Iberia.
Yeah.
Grade school and high school?
Yes.
Both of them?
Yes.
Okay.
And then they went to college in Lafayette,
Right.
and it was USL then.
Yes, right. And Tony would still have different jobs at different times. He loved bowling. He ran a
Fishing.
bowling alley, and he did all that kind of
And he
stuff.
liked fishing,
Fishing.
and
And he always told me the story about going to the Shadows on the Tesh. He used to deliver stuff there when he was a kid.
when he worked with my brother, they both worked the dish.
When he was with Ivan.
Yes.
And they would both, they worked the same job kind of company.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he would deliver the groceries. In those days, you hardly ever went to the store. For the rich people, they do.
Oh, they had the groceries delivered.
Delivered,
Even
yeah.
back then. Okay. So then Lita and Cheryl go through high school and college, and time just passes.
Passes on by.
And then,
Cheryl got married,
yep,
and Alita got married,
yep,
and
pretty happy.
I got old.
You got.
I had some good times and some bad times. Towards the end, Tony kind of changed. He was better. He didn't have that chip on his shoulder. I don't know why he did. Maybe it's because he was abused when he was young.
Okay.
And but he always was okay.
Yeah.
He never hit me.
Okay. And even as he got older, he got better and better.
Oh, better and better.
I mean, I saw that myself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he went through some rough stuff when he was young.
Yeah.
And you saw some of it too.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah.
And then they go off to college. They get married, and then neither marriage works out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they meet the men of their lives.
The two good men.
Right.
And when did we come in?
And I was most happy.
Okay.
And I thank y'all.
Well, we thank you. I often say to Alita, remember the story from Tony and on the USS San Francisco where he's manning that gun and the guy next to him gets blown in half? His guy's name was Kepler. He always told me the name of the guy Kepler. And when we went to San Francisco one time, there's a memorial out there
Yes.
to that ship. I think I showed you pictures to it.
Yes.
And right on the top, it lists the people who died. And Kepler won the Medal of Honor.
Oh.
And I never forget that because he talked and here he gets blown in half, and the guy right next to him survives and comes back to get married and have children, and we wouldn't all be sitting here right now.
That's right.
And that's how life is, right?
Yeah.
But and then didn't Alita have a child, a baby?
A baby named Larissa.
And what do you think of her?
Oh. I love her too.
But what about Jason? He's kind of shady.
Oh no.
No?
He,
No?
he looks like he's sweet.
He
Spy
does?
boy. Spy boy. You don't know what he does.
Yeah.
No, he looks like he's good.
He's a good guy. He is.
Yeah, I'm glad she got him.
Well, her father and mother are too.
Yeah.
And Jason, don't you ever say anything about this. He's here. He'll see this someday. Okay. And we're pretty much up to where we are now.
Yeah.
So, what would you say about your life?
it just went by too fast, I guess.
And like everybody else, you had things that went well, but having kids would you say that was the
Oh,
major
yeah.
joy of
I'm
your
glad
life?
I had them.
Okay.
Where would I be without them?
It'd probably be with me and Dan.
We
I don't
find-
see why not.
We find that the pickings are easy here at these old folks' homes.
All right, last thing. If you look in there, okay, and if you want to say something to Alita and Cheryl, if you want to say, or to Larissa, just
Yes.
say whatever you want to say.
Well, I love all three of them.
Look right in there, yeah.
I love Cheryl and Alita and Larissa
And Jason.
and Jason, and they're the best kids in the world. And it's a pleasure knowing them.
Okay.
They are good kids.
All right. That's it.